The Tupac Shakur sexual assault case, a look at the court record. Introduction. Viewer discretion is advised. This documentary discusses allegations of sexual assault and legal proceedings involving Tupac Shakur. It is based on court records and contemporaneous news reporting. The goal is to explain what happened in court, not to determine guilt or innocence beyond what the legal system concluded. By late 1993, Tupac Shakur had become one of hip-hop's fastest rising stars. His music was dominating the charts, his acting career was taking off, and his popularity was growing around the world. But in November 1993, everything changed. One criminal case would alter the course of his life, his career, and his legacy forever. This is the story of the investigation, the courtroom battle, the verdict, and the lasting questions that continue to surround one of hip-hop's most controversial legal cases. Chapter 1. The Allegations. On November 30th, 1993, a woman accused Tupac Shakur and several other men of sexually assaulting her inside a hotel room at the Parker Meridien Hotel in New York City. According to prosecutors, the woman had previously met Tupac on another occasion. She later went to his hotel room, where she alleged she was assaulted by multiple men. Tupac denied forcing the woman into any sexual act. He maintained throughout the investigation and trial that any sexual activity between himself and the complainant had been consensual. From the very beginning, the prosecution and defense presented two completely different versions of what happened that night. Those conflicting accounts became the focus of the trial. Chapter 2. The Investigation. Following the complaint, New York detectives opened an investigation. Investigators interviewed witnesses, collected physical evidence, and worked with prosecutors to determine whether criminal charges should be filed. The case quickly became national news because Tupac was already one of the biggest names in hip-hop. Television cameras followed every court appearance. Newspapers covered nearly every development. Fans, critics, and members of the music industry closely watched the case as it unfolded. Public opinion became sharply divided. Some believed the allegations. Others believed Tupac was innocent. Chapter 3. Inside the Courtroom. The trial began in late 1994. Prosecutors argued that the complainant did not consent to what occurred inside the hotel room. The complainant testified before the jury and described her account of the events. Defense attorneys challenged portions of her testimony and argued that inconsistencies raised reasonable doubt. The defense maintained that prosecutors had failed to prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Throughout the trial, Tupac continued to deny committing any crime. Outside the courthouse, he repeatedly told reporters he believed he was being falsely accused. Over several days, jurors heard testimony from multiple witnesses before beginning deliberations. Chapter 4. The Verdict. After hearing all of the evidence, the jury returned a split verdict. Tupac was acquitted on several of the more serious charges. However, the jury convicted him of first-degree sexual abuse, a conviction related to forcible sexual touching under New York law at the time. The verdict meant the jury did not convict him on every charge brought by prosecutors, but it did find sufficient evidence to convict him on that count. After the verdict, Tupac continued to publicly deny wrongdoing. Chapter 5. Sentencing. Following his conviction, the judge sentenced Tupac to prison. He entered the New York correctional system while his attorneys pursued an appeal. Even while incarcerated, Tupac's music remained successful. His legal team argued that errors had occurred during the trial and sought to overturn the conviction through the appeals process. Chapter 6. Death Row Records. While Tupac was serving his sentence, Marion "Suge" Knight arranged to post his appeal bond. After his release, Tupac signed with Death Row Records. The next year became one of the most successful periods of his career. He released major albums, achieved worldwide commercial success, and became one of the biggest artists in music. Chapter 7. The Appeal. Tupac consistently maintained his innocence during interviews after his release. His legal team continued pursuing an appeal. However, that process came to an end on September 13, 1996. Tupac Shakur died at the age of 25 after being shot in Las Vegas 6 days earlier. Because of his death, the appeal process ended before an appellate court issued a final ruling on his conviction. Conclusion. More than 30 years later, the Tupac Shakur case remains one of the most discussed legal cases in music history. Some believe the jury reached the correct decision. Others believe Tupac was wrongly convicted. The historical record includes the allegations, the testimony presented in court, the evidence argued by both sides, the jury's verdict, and Tupac's repeated public denials of wrongdoing. Separating allegations from proven facts and understanding exactly what the jury decided is essential to understanding this case. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary and want more deep dives into the biggest stories in hip-hop history, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode.